Hi everyone, welcome to our lesson for today. Today it is our lesson for the impacts of human on the environment. So for our lesson today, we have three topics to discuss. The first one is the balance of nature. Second, progress in agriculture, engineering and medicine. And the third one, adverse effects of people's activities. For our topic 1, the balance of nature. So scientists estimated that the Earth is already around 3 billion years old and it will exist for another 3 billion years. The life of the Earth depends mainly on the Sun. If the gravitational pull of the Sun remains constant, the Earth will continue to revolve around the Sun in its present speed. There is a delicate balance between the centripetal force of the Sun on the Earth and the centrifugal force of the Earth as it goes around the Sun. If the Sun continues to shine the way it is now, then the Earth will continue to receive the radiant energy needed by the living creatures. And too much sunshine will make the Earth too hot for most living creatures to survive. However, if there is too little sunshine, it will make the Earth too cold for most living beings to survive. In a short, balance of nature is delicate that any action that might upset such balance could have catastrophic results. For millions of years, this balance of nature has been maintained. The animals that antedated humans for thousands of years did not really disturb the environment. The effect they made on the environment was minimal, and Mother Nature easily recovered. During the dawn of civilization, humans and the predator animals lived in a very similar ways. Both hunted for food and dwelt in a natural habitats, like caves. With this kind of life, they did not alter the environment. But since humans were more intelligent and more cunning, plus the fact that they walked erect and made use of their hands, they were able to invent weapons to help them. They invented axes from stones and spears from sharp objects. It made them better hunters than the animals. And when they learned to use the fire, they cooked their food with it, warmed their bodies by it, and heated a lot of things to help them survive. That was when humans proved their superiority over animals. But when they learned to eat green leafy vegetables and learned how to cultivate them, they started to alter the environment. They made clearings in the forest and planted vegetables. And when the land was no longer that fertile, they abandoned the place and cleared other lands. That was the beginning of a forest destruction. Another is when they learned how to domesticate animals and lived in a permanent dwelling, and that was made of the products of the environment, like wood for the structure and leaves for roofing. They had to change the environment some more. Fortunately, there were not so many people at that time, so the environment was able to recover. The balance of nature remained. As the population increased and the needs of the people became more complex, they put greater pressure on the environment. Larger houses were constructed from different materials, strong fences to protect them from enemies, irrigation canals for agriculture, and large enclosures for animals. All this required more changes in the environment from which nature was unable to recover. It could be said then that by and by, humans lived for many, many years in harmony with the environment. It was only during the rapid progress in knowledge about the world, followed by the so-called Industrial Revolution, when humans made a greater impact on the environment, some good and some bad. So our topic 1 is all about the introduction of changes in our environment made by humans. These gradual changes in our environment made a great impact because of their superior intelligence, aided by the virtues of curiosity, imagination, and creativity. Humans were able to discover the many laws of nature, and they used this knowledge to control parts of nature mostly for the benefit of humankind. So we will talk all of this good contribution in our next topic. Our topic 2, progress in agriculture, engineering, and medicine. medicine. In the field of agriculture, knowledge of genetics produced larger and better varieties of fruits and vegetables. These varieties gave better yield per area planted and were more resistant to diseases. Some examples will be enumerated to highlight the point. The first one is the better yielding varieties of rice, wheat, potatoes, and this resulted in bumper harvests in many parts of the world. As a direct consequence, the problem of feeding the growing population was partly solved by these discoveries. Scientists were also able to breed seedless grapes and seedless papayas. Mangoes are now harvested all year round, and perhaps the other fruits may soon to be grown seedless, like lanzones, rambutan, and other fruits. In the field of medicine, doctors and scientists were able to discover the cure for many diseases, thus prolonging and preserving life. They were able to discover better nutritional practices, thus producing healthier babies. The result of this is much faster rate of population increase. In the field of animal science, researchers were able to improve the breed of animals used for food. Faster growing chicken and pigs and cultured fish like tilapia are some good examples. Artificial hatching of eggs was invented. All this resulted in more food for the fast growing population of the world. And also in the field of engineering, scientists invented better means of transportation on land, at sea, and in air. The more recent inventions include the bullet train that can run up to 300 kilometers per hour, airplanes that can carry up to 500 passengers, and large ships powered by nuclear fuel. Another are landscapes. Landscapes have been altered to improve services to the people. For instance, dams were built to produce electricity for homes and factories. Oil, coal, and other fossil fuels were mined to power these new inventions. For more comfort at home, scientists invented artificial lighting, air conditioning systems, the refrigerator to preserve food better, radio and television for faster and better dissemination of information, and for entertainment. And all those electric gadgets in the kitchens to the delight of many housewives. And lastly, in the field of food technology, we can now choose from a very wide variety of food available in the market. Canned goods of all kinds, powdered milk, packed lunches, preserved fruits and vegetables, and many others. Name them and you can have them. All this may be considered as the good impact humans have made on the environment. As a result of these inventions and new technology, people are living better and more comfortable. So today, we will proceed to our topic 3, adverse effects of people's activities. So humankind's invention with nature has its adverse effects too. These include pollution produced by modern technology and its ill effects on environment, disruption of the atmosphere which causes the greenhouse effect, ozone depletion and acid rain among other, pollution of the water system, deforestation, improper disposal of solid waste, as well as nuclear waste and noise pollution. So the first one is the greenhouse effect. Too much carbon dioxide and other gases emitted by factories are accumulating in the atmosphere. These gases allow sunlight to penetrate the Earth's atmosphere, but unfortunately, they also trap radiant heat and revert its escape into outer space. The immediate consequence is global warming, which is better known as the greenhouse effect. The rise in the average temperature of the Earth could have serious consequences. Among them is the melting of ice and glaciers in the North and South Poles. This will raise the water level in many parts of the world, resulting in the submersion of the low-lying coastal towns and cities. Next is the ozone depletion. High above the Earth's atmosphere, between 15 to 59 km above the Earth, is a layer of ozone. It is formed when ultraviolet radiation splits a molecule of oxygen and the free oxygen atoms combined with other oxygen molecules. Ozone acts as a filter in the upper atmosphere, preventing the harmful ultraviolet radiation of the sun from reaching the earth. Scientists discovered that compounds of carbon such as carbon dioxide and chlorofluorocarbons, nitrogen oxide, and methane break up ozone molecules, thereby gradually depleting it. The next one is the acid rain. So sulfur and nitrogen oxides are released from industrial factories, electrical power plants, smelting plants, and motor vehicles. When these gases combined with the moisture in the atmosphere, they return to the ground as sulfuric acids and nitric acids. These are popularly known as acid rain. Acid rain brings damage to lakes, soil, forests, and buildings. Many lakes in the Scandinavian countries are seriously affected by acid rain. Acid rain has brought extensive damage to the trees of Europe and the eastern part of the United States. Famous buildings like the Taj Mahal in India is now being damaged by acids from local oil refineries. The next one is water pollution. Industrial waste disposed of in streams and rivers have polluted these bodies of water, making them unfit for fish and other aquatic animals to inhabit. When the water from these streams and rivers flows into lakes and oceans, then these bodies of water also become polluted. A tragic example is our own Pasig River. Waste from industrial factories along the riverbanks polluted the river so much that for all practical purposes, the river is dead. And it continues to pollute Manila Bay, making it among the most polluted bays in the world. This is in the year of 2008. But this year, Manila Bay has its fascinating improvement through the help of DNR. Laguna Lake is one of the polluted lake in the Philippines. Most of the rivers that discharge their water into the lake are polluted, and there are also industrial factories around it that dumped their waste into it. The immediate consequence is the large reduction in fish catch. A group of scientists has urged for the extensive monitoring of Laguna de Bay. After their study, they found the presence of potentially harmful pollutants in the lake. The study, which established lower concentrations of pollutants when compared to other parts of the world, is a good start for more in-depth studies, said Dr. Maylin G. Cayetano, a professor from the UP Institute of Environmental Science and Meteorology, who led the third team of scientists that studied the presence of heavy metals in the fishes of Laguna de Bay. Until today, there are different studies and monitoring being conducted in Laguna Lake to ensure the safety of humans and different organisms that depends on it. The Pasig River and Laguna Lake are not the only bodies of water in the Philippines that are polluted. There are many more rivers and lakes around the country suffering from pollution, perhaps to a lesser extent, but nevertheless a serious threat to the environment. The next one is deforestation. The overcutting of trees in the virgin forest has done irreparable damages to the environment. Among the more serious effects of forest destruction includes soil erosion, resulting in the loss of the fertility of the land, flooding during heavy rains because there are no more trees to hold and store water, silting of rivers and lakes with soil and rocks carried by the floods, loss of habitat to many animal and plant species, and resulting in their extinction and deforested areas becoming barren and useless. The bald hills in many areas of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao are grim evidence of the forest destruction in the Philippines. Another is the solid waste disposal. The progress produces a large amount of garbage. Much of these are non-biodegradable or hazardous materials. How to dispose of them is a big problem in many countries. The most efficient is through landfills. In the Philippines, garbage collection is not efficient. With an indifferent population, garbage is one of the main sources of pollution, especially in a large population like Metro Manila. When garbage is not collected on time, people tend to dump them almost everywhere, resulting in very unsanitary surroundings, clogged waterways, and polluted creeks and rivers. Improper garbage disposal is known to have triggered the spread of diseases, epidemics, and other adverse effects on the people's health. Second to the last human activity is the production of nuclear waste. Nuclear power is among the most efficient and relatively cheap sources of energy. But the technology is highly sophisticated, and the possibility of nuclear disaster is not remote. Resulting nuclear radiations are very harmful to human beings, and heavy doses are fatal. The thousands of deaths due to the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki during the Second World War and the hundreds of fatalities in the Chernobyl accident in the Soviet Union are grim reminders of what could happen in case of nuclear accidents. Animals living in contaminated areas in and around Chernobyl have suffered from a variety of side effects caused by radiation. Oxidative stress and low levels of antioxidants have had severe consequences on the development of the nervous system, including reduced brain size and impaired cognitive abilities. And the last human activity that has adverse effect in our ecosystem is the noise pollution. Noise pollution is a direct result of the Industrial Revolution. Noisy engines in factories, the noise produced by motor vehicles, the irritating noise produced by a jackhammer, and the almost unbearable noise from jet engines are some examples. Perhaps noise pollution is the least paid attention to, but the ill effects it has on people are well documented. Psychological effects, including irritability, mental stress, and short temperedness, are quite common. Temporary or permanent loss of hearing is a more serious physical effect of noise pollution. The impact of the different kinds of pollution on the people and in the environment is serious. Permanent and irreparable damages to the ecosystem could make the earth no longer a pleasant place to live in and could even make it uninhabitable. That is why pollution and its effects on the environment should be the concern of everybody. So again, the adverse effects of the people's activities are the greenhouse effect, ozone depletion, acid rain, water pollution, deforestation, solid waste disposal, nuclear waste, and noise pollution. So thank you again for listening to our lesson for today, and I hope you learned something. That's all. Thank you.